Zimbabwe cash crisis worse.
Talking about Venezuela once again.
Systemic important banks. They removed the 1,000 thing on there called monetary awareness. Hey there, hope all is well. Back at you today with some more RT News updates. And as you tell from today's title, the AIIB to invest $140 million in India infrastructure. So today I have a couple articles I want to share with you. But before I dive into those articles, as always, if you're new to RTD, click the subscribe button for more RT News updates as well as live streams. And make sure to hit that notification tab to be informed when the videos are uploaded. And if you have not as of yet, visit the RTD University page where I put together all my prior interviews dealing with monetary matters as well as the importance of holding precious metals in your possession today. So let's get into these first articles here. And as I mentioned, we have a project here with the AIIB where they're investing a lot of money, approximately close to $1 billion in total, into India. So the question would be, why is China and India working so closely together as of now, considering the fact that India is not a big supporter or a fan of China's Belt and Road Initiative, which is the idea of unifying a lot of countries along an old legendary pathway that goes through various countries to spur trade and commerce amongst nations on the eastern hemisphere of this planet. And so here we have the idea that India is receiving funds, even though they're not in agreement with that initiative, and they're receiving the most funds out of all the nations that are included in the AIIB. So as you can see here, it says, if India won't put up with the Belt and Road, why is it the largest recipient of AIIB funds? If India isn't down with China's Belt and Road Initiative, then why is it happily accepting funds from China-led Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank? Question. But this frames what is a nuanced Indian position on Asian connectivity initiatives far too rigid a mold. India, having signed up to participate in the China-led Multilateral Development Bank in October 2014, is a founding member of the AIIB. It is also the second largest voting share in the bank after China. New Delhi was approached as of early June 2014 about participating in the bank, which was clearly marked by China as a rival to U.S. and Japan-led institutions like the World Bank and Asian Development Bank. It says this was a month after Chinese President Xi Jinping announced the Belt and Road Initiative that will become centerpieces of his Belt and Road Initiative in late 2013. In two speeches in Kazakhstan as well as Indonesia. It says today it is true that India is the largest beneficiary of AIIB financing for infrastructure projects. It is also true that between the issues between India membership in a nuclear suppliers group, territorial tiffs in the Himalayas, concerns over the Chinese-Pakistan economic corridors transversal of disputed territory in Kashmir, New Delhi has several misguidings about Chinese foreign policy in its region generally, and the Belt and Road Initiative specifically regarding Beijing's attempt to seek influence in its immediate neighborhood with great interest. So here we have the idea that India is a primary recipient of funds for this new institution, but then also they have problems because of all the issues mentioned here in regards to territory and India's concern over China having too much influence on bordering countries. So that begs the question, why would India be receiving funds? And at the end of the day, what is the ulterior motive of the AIIB? I believe it has to do with the fact that India has 1.4 billion people within that country, which is the second largest population on the planet, right behind China, which has approximately 1.3 billion people as well. So you add those two countries together, you have 2.7 billion people. That is the largest amount of people within two countries that happen to be real close. And so this AIIB, in my opinion, is to help formulate in the days ahead as this monetary restructuring process gets underway, allowing a lot of those people who don't have access to all the modern necessities, which is roads and railways, which would allow them to be recipients in this new economy that they're forming over there, along with our Belt and Road Initiative. So let's dive into another article. Here we have AIIB decides to invest $140 million to improve royal connectivity in India. Says approximately 1.5 million royal residents in the state of Madhya Pradesh are going to directly benefit from improved livelihoods, education, mobility, with a $140 million loan approved by the board of directors for the AIIB in a meeting held recently in Beijing. Says livelihoods of a royal population will be improved by expanding income earning opportunities through better farm-to-market road connections. Moreover, more children are expected to enroll in higher education programs, and school attendance is expected to further improve. The road maintenance pilot under the project will employ more women, contributing to gender equality and income generation. So that plays into bringing a lot of the population in the royal areas into a more of a citywide environment that gives them access to better education, better business opportunities, better employment opportunities, all in preparation for the days ahead, as those countries with the two biggest populations prepare for the technological advantages as well as the increased economies that's coming in the days ahead after this restructuring process. So for those that are not exactly aware of what the AIIB is, it's this Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank, and I'll give you some details about it. It says the AIIB is a multilateral development bank that aims to support the building of infrastructure in the Asia-Pacific region. The bank currently has 64 member states, while another 20 are prospective members, for a total of 84 approved members, and was proposed as an initiative by the government of China. It says the United Nations has addressed the launch of AIIB as having potential for scaling up financing for sustainable development for the concern of global economic governance. It says the capital of the bank is $100 billion, equivalent to 2/3 of the capital of the Asian Development Bank and about half of that for the World Bank. It says the bank was proposed by China in 2013, and the initiative was launched as a ceremony in Beijing, October 2014. So scroll down a little bit, give you an idea, some of the history here. And then what's more important are the members of this bank. Then it gives a list here of all the most recent inductees into this bank here. So we have Afghanistan, Fiji, Hong Kong, China, Timor-Leste, and we have 8 non-regional members: Belgium, Canada, Ethiopia, Hungary, Ireland, Peru, Sudan, Venezuela. And then we have Bahrain, Cyprus, Samoa. Then we have Bolivia, Chile, Greece, Romania. And then scroll down a little bit here. It gives the percentages of the actual voting power of these nations, of which I would assume that the BRIC nations, Brazil, Russia, India, and China, South Africa, would have the highest vote. But as of now, Brazil doesn't have a vote. So we have countries with the highest vote as Australia at 39%, China at 300, we have France at 36, we have Germany at 47, we have India, which is the second highest vote, at 86. Then you scroll on down here, you see who else. We have South Korea with a high vote. Then we have Russia with the third highest vote, and so forth.
It's the next recession.
Recession will be.
Will be a recession.
We're going to hit a recession.
The date of the next recession.
A U.S.-only recession typically lasts 8 to 10 months, but a lot of things about this particular one have not been typical. So
a crash is coming now, whether it's 6 months from now, 12 months, 36 months, no one knows.
I go to bed every night, I dream of another recession. If you know what to do, if you have the right plan to set up, you can make a lot of money from this.
So what exactly does the AIIB have to do with what's happening with our monetary system? Well, it's easy. Since the AIIB was formed in 2013 as a recommendation by China, who also has proposed several other initiatives that goes outside of the status quo for the last several decades, with the United States of America being the leading global power behind the Federal Reserve note. And so here we have the initiative of the AIIB, we have the BRICS organization, we have all of these other banks that are coming. So there's so many acronyms and so many institutions being formed, all proposed by China. Why? Because they have plans to challenge the United States of America moving forward, especially as we all know there's some type of reset or restructuring coming with our monetary system. So they have begun laying the groundwork for all the things needed so that when things are restructured, they can pick up and then begin carrying the torch for our global monetary system as well as international trading system. So these countries here have all signed on, and of course the countries that are not on there: Japan, Mexico, Nigeria, and who else? The United States. And so the idea that these countries here are all in agreement on this institution, which provides an alternative to the World Bank, which up until this point has been the primary funding of developing countries. So those methods of funding and expanding economies is no longer the only solution. There's an alternative. So at the end of the day, this all boils down to the initiatives out east offering alternatives outside of what has been the status quo, which has always been led by the United States of America through the dollar and our military. So thought I would share some articles with you on the AIIB. I will be looking into more to these initiatives because I believe it's important to keep an eye on what they're doing so that you can get a better understanding of how this whole shift is occurring and some of the institutions that contribute to the development of all these projects here. So leave a comment below. I would love to hear your thoughts on this matter, and more importantly, share this with your family and friends so they can see also what is happening outside of this country beyond what they hear on the mainstream news. Because I can guarantee one thing, there's nothing about the AIIB on your typical mainstream news sources. So other than that, hope all is well. Leave a comment, and I'll see you guys later.